All right, welcome to lesson 6-8, estimating with percents, and that is the abbreviation I like to use for with. It's C with a line over top of it. It's you see that a lot in medical terminology. It stands for the Latin word cum, which means with, and then sine, which means without. So if you see a C with a line over it or an S with a line over it, those are quick abbreviations for with and without. So there you go. See, it's not just percents and math. You never know what you're going to learn in your flip video. All right, I've got Kevin here helping me out. Say hi, Kevin.
Hello.
And so remember that for your quiz tomorrow, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be estimating percents, and this is actually a nice real-life skill that comes up a lot, especially when we're eating out.
Yeah, my mom does that all the time. She goes like, oh, 7% of
Yep.
I was like, what are you talking
Exactly. So, all right. Now, in Lexington, Kentucky, let's talk first about tax rates. Anything that you buy, whether it's a restaurant meal or something at the dollar store, everything it has a 6% tax. And part of that is federal tax, and part of it is state tax. And then in some places, there's also local taxes. Where I grew up, in my hometown, taxes were 7%. You go back there now, it's 8%.
Oh.
All right. So for Kentucky, sales tax is 6%. And tip is generally assumed to be about 15%. Now, if you have really good service, a lot of people will say 18% is standard tip, and then if it's good service, maybe 20 or more. And then sometimes, if you're normally a good tipper and somebody just really gives you a lousy service, one way you can let them know is by, you still give them a tip. Well, you can give them no tip, but sometimes then they just think you're cheap. But if you intentionally give them kind of a smaller tip and they know that you're a good tipper, they know that they kind of messed up.
So like,
yeah. Now here's the deal. We're not going to pull out calculators. We're not going to get pen and paper out. And we're not going to do proportions and is over of equals percent over 100 if we're just quickly trying to figure something out. Okay. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to estimate percents. And we're going to learn some tricks to do these quick in our heads. Whoops. Before we go ahead, let's do one on the screen too first. Okay. So let me show you how to do this. All right. So here's the deal. Let's start with an easy amount. All right, so let's start with an easy one. Suppose you go to a restaurant and there's a $50 bill. Okay? Not that you find a $50 bill on the floor, but the bill for the food you eat.
Yeah.
You owe them $50.
to my food.
All right, here's what you do when you're estimating percents. We're going to use really easy percents. We're going to do 10%, 5%, and 1%. We're going to do them quick in our heads. All right, so 10% of $50, that's pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
You just basically whack off a zero. Just move the decimal over one. So just move the decimal over one place, and you get $5. All right? Now, 5% is half of that. So just literally just take whatever you get for your estimate here and take half of it. So that'd be $2.50. And then for 1%, you basically do the same thing you did on 10%. Skip the 5 for a second. Go from 10% down to 1. It's the same idea. You just move the decimal over one more time, and that'll give you 0.5, which if we're talking money is 50 cents.
Oh.
Okay? So real quick in your head, a $50 bill comes that you owe. So let's estimate the tax. Well, we don't even have to estimate the tax. We can get it exactly. The tax in Kentucky, we said, was 6%.
Yeah.
So take a look right here. Okay, so we're going to do tax first. Just take the 5% and the 1% calculations. And while normally you do this in your head, we're going to practice writing this down on paper. But anyway, just take those two estimates, add them together, and the tax is going to be exactly $3.
Oh.
That's not that. Now, normally we just do an estimate. So we're going to, if this number is not a whole number amount, like let's say the actual bill is $48.73 or something like that, we're just going to estimate by picking an easy number. But in this case, we don't even need to estimate. All right, and now for the tip, all right, so again, do the same thing. You take your $50, you do 10, 5, and 1. Now, for a tip, for a 15% tip, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 10 and the 5 and put those together.
Oh.
So that would be $7.50.
$7.50.
Okay. Now, let's say the service was really good, and we want to give them a really nice tip. Okay.
20%.
Yeah. So then you just take the 10%, and if you want to do a really good tip, if you want to estimate a 20% tip, just take that 10 and double it, so $10. That's also easier if you're paying in cash and you just want to take a $10 bill out of your wallet and leave it there. You don't want to have to make change and things like that. If you're doing a credit card, you can make it any amount because you just sign for it. All right, so that's it. So when we do any kind of estimating with percents, whether it's for tax, tip, or anything else, okay, we're always going to start with 10, 5, and 1.
Got it.
Okay. Now, if you're if you're doing tip, you probably don't even need to bother with the one. 10 and 5 would probably be enough.
Okay.
Let's say, before we go on to the next example, let's say we wanted to actually leave that very proper 18% tip.
Ooh.
All right, well, then what we do is we take a 10,
Got it.
we take a 5, we already know that's 750, and let's just add 3 of those.
Oh.
If we want to do 18%, that would be 10, 5, and 3 ones, right?
This is easy.
Almost like we're counting in Roman numerals. So we're going to add 3 extra 50 cents. That's $1.50 more. So instead of $9.50, that would be a $9 tip. We just added $1.50 to $7.50, and that would be. So this is your 18% tip. 20% tip would be $10, and a 15% tip is $7.50. And there's no exact rule about this. It's kind of up to you, and you get to kind of decide. But that's how you estimate quickly in your head.
What was that?
It was one of the soda bottles popping. All right, let's do another example. All right, so let's do a practice example. Suppose we've got 2 different restaurants. Let's say you go to, you go to a Charlie's and you get a sandwich for lunch or something, and your portion of the bill is $14.50.
Okay.
Or let's say, you go out on a nice to a nice restaurant, maybe a date, to like a sushi restaurant.
Oh.
And now, dinner for 2 or 3
Fancy.
people. Let's say it's a double date. Well, $124 for 4 people would actually not be bad at a nice
a
restaurant.
hibachi?
But the point is, well, yeah, that's a great idea, Kevin. Let's use a hibachi. All right,
Right,
so let's do these. All right, $14.50. That's pretty close to $15, right?
Yep.
So we're going to use that as our estimate amount. So our 10% amount is going to be $1.50. 5% is half that, which is what?
5%. Wait.
What's half of 150?
What's
Pay
half of
attention.
150? Sorry, my mind just like totally.
75 cents. Yeah, see, I thought he was wandering away. And then 1%, just take the decimal, move it over one more time, and it's 15 cents.
Yeah.
All right? So, but let's say at the sandwich place, or let's say you went to a Charlie's, and you went with like 8 people.
Ooh.
So they automatically add 8. A lot of times when there's a lot of people kind of cheap out on the tips. And so restaurants learned long ago, when you have a big party, it's better to just charge people the tip. So, and they'll actually say that on the menu. So
Really?
they're going to charge you 18%. So let's estimate how much that's going to be. So we're going to take one of these, we're going to take one of these, and we're going to take 3 of these. Okay, so that's $1.50 for the 10%, 75 more cents
Okay.
for the 5%. And now we're going to do 3 of the 1%, which are 15 cents each. That's going to be a total of 45 cents. And if I add that all up, let's see, $1.50 and $1.45 is almost $2. That's $1.95. The 5 cents from the 75, that'll make it 2, so you get $2.70.
Wow.
Okay, and that's just the tip. We didn't bother with the tax. If we want to do the tax, though, we've already done the work.
Yeah.
The tax at 6% would be what? 5% plus
yeah.
1%. So just add these guys together.
That would be 90%.
90 cents.
Yeah, 90 cents.
Although technically 0.90 is kind of it's kind of the same thing as 90%. Okay, same thing over here on the more expensive restaurant. Again, 10%. You just move the decimal over, so that's going to be $12.40. You don't even really have to.
That's so easy.
You don't even have to round it. Okay, for the 5, that's going to be half that, so that's $6.20.
Yep.
And the 1%, just move the decimal one more time. It's $1.24.
Huh.
All right, now whatever I want to do, let's say it was good service. Well, if it was good service, that was all overkill. I probably could just take that and double it.
Yeah.
And if I double $12.40, I'm going to get $24.80. That's pretty close to $25. Most people tend to round to the nearest whole dollar. That's fine. If it's just average service and I want to give a 15% tip, just add these 2 guys together, and I get $18.60. And again, if I want to be a little nicer than that, I can round up a little bit to $20.
Feeling generous today, aren't you?
That's all there is. Yeah, it's easy when I'm just writing on a screen. It's easy when it's not real money.
Yeah.
That's the idea, guys. That's how you're going to estimate percent. So when you get one of these problems, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to just write down the 10, the 5, and the 1. Okay, so just put a little percent over here and write 10, 5, and 1. Okay, and so if we're talking about, I don't know, let's make it somewhere in the middle. $38. 10% is $3.80. 5% is half that, so it's $1.90. And 1% would be 38 cents.
Yep.
And if I want to round those a little bit more, I can call that 4, 2, and 40 cents. It's not a big deal. And I could have done that at the beginning, just round it to $40.
Yep.
This is all estimating. The key with estimating, you want it to be quick, but you also want it to be accurate. And while we're learning how to do estimates, we are going to be showing our work. The point eventually is for us to be able to do this quickly in our heads. All right, so the title on the top of the screen actually says Other Estimates. So let's say we're not talking about tax or tip. let's say we're talking about some salesman and he gets 8% commission. Well, you do that same as tax. Again, do 10, 5, and 1%, okay? And then if you're doing 8%, you would take a 5 and 3 ones, okay? Just like when we did the 18% tip, okay? It also works on big percentages. Let's say you're doing a sale, okay? And you want to buy this new coat. Right? It's a nice North Face coat, and it's normally $128, and it's 40% off. And you want to know if your $75 gift card is enough. All right?
What color is the coat?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right. Well, actually, it's probably red, so we'll make it red. So you got a $128 coat. All right. So now all I got to do now is do the 10%. Now let's be safe. So let's round 128 to 130. So 10% would be $13, right? All right. Well, if I'm saving 30% off. Now, to do it properly, I should set this up as a discount problem and do is over of and show all the work. But if I just want to estimate quick in the store, well, just take, if 10% is, oops, I put a percent sign there. That should have been dollar sign. That should be 0.00. All right. So if 10% is $13, 30% is going to be about $39.
Yeah.
So if I save $39, let's subtract 39 from from 128, and we will see, we're going to bring our work way down here. And so let's see, 18 minus 9 is 9. I had to borrow 1. So 11 minus 3 is $89. So our $75 gift card is not going to cut it. It's going to be close. If I happen to have a little bit of cash, I could probably put the two together. So how big a sale would I have to have in order to be able to afford the coat? Well, we already figured out that 10% is $13. So let's take another 13 off.
Yeah.
Well, that would drop it down. What I'd be left with, instead of 89, just take 13 off of that, we get 76. All right, now we're close enough that we probably can find a buck. And don't forget, we did estimate up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no. We did estimate up a little bit, but that actually means that we're taking off more than we're really going to take off.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be close. We're going to be within about $5 at this point. Okay.
I'm pretty sure $5.
So if it was 50% off, well, if it was 50% off, we probably wouldn't mess around with the multiples of 10%. We would have just taken half. Yeah. We would have done that like the lesson yesterday, where sometimes it's easier to do a percent problem where you just do it as a fraction. So if it was 50% off, we know it's $64. Then we've got plenty of money.
Yeah.
One more thing, though. You probably needs to be about 50% off, because even if it's marked down 40%, there's still going to be sales tax on it.
Yeah.
Which is going to add 6% back on. So if it's all the way down to $64, the sales tax is on the actual price we're paying. So again, real quick estimate: 10% would be $6.40. Half that is $3.20. Now add 64 cents for that's 1%. Okay, and so $3.20, so it'll be about $4 more. So I'm going to be right at about $68, $69 if I count the fact that we didn't overestimate because we did half that one. All right, so here's the deal, guys. When you're given a percent problem, unless it's an easy fraction one, you're going to do everything with 10, 5, 1. So all the tax problems, commission, anything having to do with
money,
tips, generally money. Yep. A lot of those you're going to just use 10, 5, and 1%, and then you're just going to build the percents you need. Okay? Yeah, you got a question?
Yeah, what if, you know in stores when they do the thing where they put like $1.99 on, why do they even bother putting that that 99, because you know you're going to spend it.
Yeah, good question. In our minds, we know that $199 for like, I don't know, maybe a new TV.
But, I mean, like
we know that that's really $200, especially when it's $199.99, so it's 1 penny away. The thing is, they have found by doing research that in our minds, people just, if they literally see those two prices, people just, even though they know there's no difference, they gravitate towards the smaller one. So it's just kind of stuck like that. I got one more thing for you. This is a little bit different. So here's my guest, Kevin, today. And what we'd like you to do is, we're not making you do any math problems today. Instead, we want you to find how many gnomes you can see in the background of this video. Actual gnomes, not the gnome card or anything like that. And we'll give you a little bit of a help. Let's see how many you can find. Okay, if you only find 3, look harder. All right, there's one right there. There's the UK gnome. Okay, there's the spy gnome. There's the side Duck Dynasty gnome, and then we got a guarded gnome down there. So remember that for your quiz tomorrow.
Yeah, no, but
And also remember the 10, 5, and 1, because that will figure into the daily quiz tomorrow. All right, you ready?
yeah, but
Sign off.
I think that gnome that counts.
Yeah, so Kevin's answer would have included this little guy right there, the birthday card gnome, which started it all. So it
Yeah.
should count. All right, thanks
Should.
for watching. Sorry that we rambled on a little bit. Hopefully you enjoyed all of that, and we'll see you in class tomorrow where we'll practice estimating percents.
Easy.